I'm quite sure that we all agree that it's difficult to, well, let the wind blow more. There are some shamans and maybe some chemical ways to get the wind blowing better. But actually, I think there are easier ways to earn more money. And in the beginning, I would like to ask you to take part in the poll. I think in the upper right part of the screen, you can see my question, and the question simply says, what do you think is easier to increase your profit? We all know that you could focus on earning more money, or you could focus on spending less money. What's, in your opinion, more achievable? I'm interested in, I will come back to it in 2 minutes or 3. But first, I want to explain my goal for today. I'm looking for test pilots. And in this photo, you see a gleaming machine. And you might be thinking, well, is it safe to become a test pilot? And will I actually profit from it? Will I have benefits by being a pilot of that machine? And well, my goal of this presentation is to show you my fantastic software and find out if it has features that really could help you. Sorry. Well, my company is a pioneer of wind industry in Germany. We started almost 30 years ago, and I don't want to go into all these details, but maybe only one detail on this slide I want to point out. In 1998, we had 40 different wind turbines in the end of the last millennium. And we decided that we need a software that somehow enables us to keep track of what's going on, to monitor these turbines. And in those days, you couldn't buy such a software. And even the manufacturers of the turbines didn't have a data interface or something like that. So we had to develop our own software. And that's where I'm coming from. Nowadays, well, about 800 people work at my company, and we have installed about as much energy systems. Most of them are still owned by us, and so we are not only building new ones every year, we also operate them. And I don't want to go into all details of our value chain. Of course, we have a service that maintains the turbines. We have technical management. We have asset management. Today, I want to focus on our software. The software is called Power System, and it basically has 4 different regions or 4 different purposes. The original purpose was monitoring, technical management, and inspections. But we moved on to the asset management part, so we also are good in calculating who gets how much money. And we also provide a virtual power plant and power control for mixed parks from different manufacturers. And a popular product in the last years is our portfolio cockpit. In the case when you are owning energy systems of different kinds, and you want an overview of what's going on, and you have different technical managers, and you're sick of receiving reports by email containing PDFs or PowerPoints or whatever, and you want a combined view, then this cockpit would be worth a view. Nowadays, more than 40 software developers are working on this software, and we have a monthly release, so each month we get better. We are monitoring the data quality every time of the day and week and night. We are certified ISO 9001 and ISO 27001, so that's in the end quality and information security. So now I will go back to the poll and try to find out if any one of you has taken part. Oops. I don't see any. I'm not sure if you can see the results, but in the end, maybe we can look up later. In my opinion, it's easier to increase the profit by cutting costs instead of earning more money. It's possible to somehow earn more money. I don't doubt it. But today I will focus on reducing the costs. Okay. And I will look at different aspects why you would maybe try our software. We try to prevent boring work. And in the next seconds, I will tell you the old style of monitoring parks. In the old times, there was an expert getting all the error messages from the turbines. Here's an example, and looking at all of them and, well, developing an opinion if it's necessary to do something. But the problem with this approach is that it doesn't scale very well. So it works if you have a few turbines, but if one person wants to monitor 1,000 turbines, it simply doesn't work anymore. So, what we try to do is to show you only those events which need a human decision. And we have many ways of achieving this. For example, we filter the information and try to only show those turbines which need attention. And when we show it, we try to combine wind and solar, so you don't need to switch between different applications. And we try to teach our robot to automate as much as possible. In this example, our robot Vera simply has taken care of an incident completely automatically. No human interaction was needed. And because it was an incident where a human decision is not needed, the human could work on other things, didn't have to do boring work. This was one example of saving money. And actually, you can save, I don't know, maybe $300, maybe $600 per year and turbine with automation. That's great. But there are costs that can be much higher. For example, fines for regulatory compliance violations. These fines at least in Europe, can be very expensive. So when you do not comply with the rules, it could end up that you have to pay maybe $30,000, maybe $60,000 for one turbine. So that's much more money than you can save by automation. And we want to prevent it. And actually, it's difficult to detect these violations because you need to analyze a lot of data. And therefore, our approach is, again, automation. So we train our watchdogs. You can tell our robots the criteria when the rules are violated. And then you can work on something else, or, I don't know, have a nice sleep. And our robot will bark and notify you that the machine did not operate as it should. And this is a kind of error which is not sent by the machine. So you will not receive an error code from a turbine telling you, sorry, I forgot to shut down while an endangered species was flying by. You need an external system to keep track of these things. And of course, you need reports which you can show to the authorities, which prove that your turbine is sticking to the rules. And you need it for a lot of different types of regulations. For example, in France, there you need to achieve a specific reactive power each month. And when you fail to achieve it, it's very expensive. But if you detect your wrong reactive power during the month, you can still react during the month and prevent a fine. And that's why you need instant notification that something is wrong, even if the turbine doesn't send a code. And of course, you need to report it and to show that it works. Time is running slow, and I just wanted to show you, if you want to save costs, it's good to keep track and monitor automatically your compliance. Another example with inspections. In old days, maybe you had a paper protocol you were filling out manually in order to run an inspection. Maybe someday you moved on and you used a spreadsheet like Excel to fill out what you observe during your inspection. But regardless which way you choose, these old style approaches cost a lot of time when you get back in the office and try to write a report of what you have observed. And our approach is simply, why don't you use a mobile device and record what should be watched during the inspection, and come back to the office and click on create report, and the report is automatically sent to the customer. Our users say that we save 80% of their time with our inspections support. And I don't want to mention all the details here. Time is running short. I will just mention one Harry Potter-like magic we have. Typically, when you drive to a turbine, you are not alone. For safety regulations, it's better that a team of 2 people goes to the turbine. But why should only one of them work and the other, I don't know, have a smoke, that's not efficient. So we have a technology where two devices can collaborate in an inspection, even if there is no internet connection within the turbine. And this means nobody has to wait. Both persons can work simultaneously, and it saves time and money. This was just one of many examples of why maybe you would try our inspections. Okay, we just heard an interesting talk about machine learning results, and this is something we also like to do, but we found out that if you have bad data quality, all your algorithms won't have good results. And these are just examples what you typically find in raw data. In this case, there's a gap. In this other case, the value jumps in a way that is physically impossible. In other cases, the value stays flat for some time while it shouldn't. And this is rather a random generator than a real measurement, but whoever works with data sees such bad quality. And that's why we have robots, algorithms, and people to keep track of implausible data and repair it so that the data scientists have something to work with. And final example of what we are doing with our software is we enable you to keep track of a mixed portfolio. So this is just one example. Let's assume you have different turbines or solar parks or whatever energy systems. And in each case, you have a technical manager which takes care of what's going on in the park. That's great. But they lack something. For example, they don't have a robot for monitoring the compliance. Well, then simply you could ask us to provide it and add it so you don't have to pay expensive fines. And this is only service C. So we have a lot of services for owners of large portfolios where they can individually for each asset enhance the capabilities of their fleet. And in the end have a cockpit where everything is, well, visible what's going on in their fleet. Okay, so coming to an end, I showed you that we try to reduce the costs by automation wherever possible and by filtering information so that the users are only shown those events where a decision is needed. And I showed you that we try to prevent fines. And I showed you that we try to save time for your inspections. I try to show you that it, in the end, is cheaper to take care of data quality early, because then you can have good results with machine learning. And in the end, I showed you that you can add our services to your portfolio and, well, enhance whatever you already have. So